I am Margaret Williams. This year, as I turn 65, I feel like I'm entering a new chapter in my life. Looking out the window of my home in Newton, a suburb of Boston, I sighed deeply as I watched the maple trees sway in the wind. For 30 years, I taught at a local elementary school. My mission was to work with children who had problems. That experience still lives on within me. I often told my students, time heals all wounds. Now, it feels like those words are a comfort to myself. The 40 years of marriage with my husband Charles, who passed away 5 years ago from a heart attack. The memories still weigh heavily on my heart. In this old two-story house, furniture and photos filled with memories of Charles remain as if time has stopped. Growing vegetables in the backyard is an important part of my daily routine. The time spent exchanging vegetables with neighbors and getting excited about gardening adds color to my life. At the book club that meets twice a month, we enthusiastically discuss books on social issues, reminding me of my passion as a former teacher. However, there's a shadow weighing heavily on my heart. It's my relationship with my son, Jason. He's 35 and works as an IT consultant in downtown Boston. The once close parent-child bond is now limited to a monthly phone call. While I'm proud of his success at work, I can't help but feel anxious about the distance with family. Jason's wife, Amanda, is 32. She's a talented woman working as a freelance graphic designer. When I see her posts on social media, they always depict a perfect family image. However, the tired expression on her face the last time I saw her is etched in my memory. And then there's my adorable grandson, Connor. He's 5 years old and the light of my life. Thinking of his innocent smile warms my heart. But in recent phone calls, his voice seems to lack energy. According to Jason, Connor tends to avoid interacting with other children at kindergarten. Looking at the calendar, there's a date circled in red. Tomorrow is Connor's 5th birthday. Tomorrow is my chance to restore family bonds, I resolved anew. Outside the window, the soft light of dusk envelopes the town. Amidst a mixture of anticipation and anxiety for tomorrow, I quietly began preparing for the day ahead. By the window where the morning sun streams in, I was gazing at the birthday present I had prepared for Connor last night. An educational wooden puzzle carefully chosen at Target and a handmade photo album. I hope it will stimulate Connor's curiosity and make him feel the family bond. Nibbling on breakfast toast, I mentally organized today's schedule. Arrive at Jason's house at 10, gather around the cake with everyone. I was imagining such a happy scene. However, a small anxiety remains in the depths of my chest. I'm worried about Connor's recent behavior. While driving, I took deep breaths repeatedly. It's okay, Margaret. Today is Connor's special day. We'll celebrate together, I reassured myself. When I arrived at Jason's house, silence greeted me. I ring the doorbell, but there's no response. That's strange, I mutter, reaching for the doorknob just in case. To my surprise, it wasn't locked. Jason, Amanda, Connor. I call out as I enter the house. The living room is a mess, with high-end shopping bags and empty wine bottles scattered everywhere. Stepping into the kitchen, dishes are piled up in the sink, emitting a foul odor. Anxiety tightens my chest. I head upstairs. Connor. Where are you? I heard a faint sound of water. It's coming from the bathroom. When I opened the door, a breathtaking scene unfolded before me. A small body was submerged in a bathtub filled with cold water. It's Connor. Connor. I quickly lift him up. His body is cold, his lips pale. Wrapping his body in a towel, I ask in a trembling voice, "What happened? Why are you in such cold water?" Connor answered in a shaky voice, "Grandma. Dad and Mom said I had to cool a burn. But it hurts." At those words, my heart nearly stopped. Looking closely at his body, I could see red, swollen burn marks on his wrists and back. Moreover, multiple old scars and bruises were visible on his back and legs. "Oh, my God!" I mutter involuntarily. "It's okay, Connor. Grandma's here for you." I carry Connor to the living room. Wrapping him in a blanket and warming his body, I was desperately trying to maintain my composure. "Connor, where are Mom and Dad?" I asked gently. "Mom and Dad left. They said I'm not family, so they left me behind." Tears welled up in Connor's eyes. At those words, anger and sadness welled up inside me. How could this happen? What are Jason and Amanda thinking? I take out my cell phone and dial Jason's number. Only the voicemail responds. Amanda's number yields the same result. Holding Connor close, I consider my next move. Medical care is needed. But more than that, I need to report this situation to the appropriate authorities. Taking a deep breath, I steel my resolve. "Connor, let's go to the hospital. Grandma will protect you no matter what." Connor just nodded silently. His helpless figure made my heart feel like it was about to burst. Heading towards the entrance, I quietly vowed, "I'll definitely uncover the truth and protect Connor. This is my mission." Before getting into the car, I looked back at the house one more time. Despite its flashy exterior, it seemed like deep darkness was lurking inside. Connor's 5th birthday. A new chapter was about to begin in a way no one had imagined. I put Connor in the car and carefully fastened his seatbelt. I could feel his small body trembling. "It's okay, Connor. Grandma's here with you," I say gently. As I start the car, I call Jason's cell phone again. The voicemail message plays. "Jason, call me urgently. Something terrible has happened with Connor." I leave a message, trying to stay as calm as possible while conveying the urgency. I dial Amanda's number too, but with the same result. "Amanda, please contact me immediately. It's an emergency regarding Connor." On the way to the hospital, I was trying to organize the situation in my head. How did it come to this? Where are Jason and Amanda? And why did they leave Connor behind? When stopped at a traffic light, I suddenly had an idea. I should check with the neighbors about the situation. I turn the wheel and head back towards Jason's house. The first place I visited was the Johnsons' house across the street. When I rang the doorbell, Mary Johnson came out. "Margaret, what's wrong?" Mary asked, looking surprised. "Mary, have you seen Jason and Amanda? Has anything unusual happened recently?" Mary frowned. "Come to think of it, I saw them leaving with large suitcases 2 or 3 days ago. I thought they were going on vacation, but..." Next, I visit the Payton's house next door. Tom Payton answered. "Margaret, this is unusual. Did something happen?" "Tom, I want to ask about Jason and the others. Has anything changed recently?" Tom thought for a moment before answering. "Now that you mention it, I've heard voices late into the night recently. It sounded like they were arguing. But I don't know the details." Hearing this information, my anxiety grew even more. I returned to the car and checked on Connor. He was sitting quietly in the back seat. Seeing his helpless figure made my heart ache. "Connor, just a little more patience. Grandma will take care of everything." Connor smiled weakly. "Thank you, Grandma." As the night deepened, I was lost in thought, looking at the night view of Boston from the hospital room window. Jason and Amanda are still unreachable. Where on earth are they, and why did they do this to Connor? While pondering these unanswerable questions, I gazed at Connor's sleeping face. Listening to his peaceful breathing somehow calms my heart. "I'll make sure you're happy," I whispered softly. "Grandma will protect you no matter what." Outside the window, a new morning was approaching. I quietly prepared myself for the long battle ahead. There are walls we must overcome for Connor's future and for our family. But I'm sure we can overcome them. Believing this, I closed my eyes. On the morning of the 3rd day after Connor was hospitalized, I was awakened by a sudden phone call. Looking at the screen, it was from Jason. "Mom, where are you now?" Jason's voice sounded tired. "At Boston Children's Hospital. Connor is hospitalized." I tried to maintain my composure. After a moment of silence, Jason began to speak. "I understand. I'm coming now." An hour later, Jason and Amanda appeared in the hospital room. Both looked exhausted, especially Amanda's eyes were red and swollen. "Connor!" Amanda cried out, trying to rush to her son. "Wait," I grabbed her arm. "First, you need to explain." The 3 of us went out into the hospital hallway. Jason let out a deep sigh. "Mom, I'm truly sorry. I'll explain everything." Jason began to talk about the failure of a startup company in Silicon Valley. He had accumulated a large debt and fallen into depression. Every day was hell. I couldn't talk to anyone. His voice trembled. Amanda also began to speak tearfully. I was also suffering from postpartum depression. But on social media, I was pretending to have a perfect family. I felt like I was being crushed by the gap between reality and the ideal. As I listened to their story, a mixture of anger and sympathy swirled inside me. "But why Connor?" I asked, choosing my words carefully. Jason covered his face. "We weren't in our right minds. We pretended to go on a trip to escape from debt collectors. We thought we had asked a neighbor to look after Connor." "What about those burns?" Amanda answered, sobbing. I didn't check the bath temperature. But then I tried to hide it." I took a deep breath. The feeling of wanting to get angry and the feeling of wanting to hug them conflicted. "You two have made a big mistake," I said quietly. "But there's still a chance for repair. For Connor's sake, and for your own, you should seek professional help." Jason and Amanda nodded silently. "First, we need to talk to Child Protective Services. And the police too." The two looked up. Fear and regret were visible on their faces. "It's okay. I'm here with you." I placed my hands on their shoulders. "Let's get through this together." The following weeks were like moving through a storm. Police interrogations, meetings with Child Protective Services, and court hearings. After it all passed, we finally reached the stage of starting family counseling. At the Psychiatric Department of Massachusetts General Hospital, Dr. Sarah Cohen became our family's counselor. "Everyone, you've done really well to get this far," Dr. Sarah smiled kindly. "This is where the real recovery begins." In the first session, Jason and Amanda spoke frankly about their problems. Depression, anxiety disorders, and addiction. As they put it into words, I could see their expressions gradually softening. "We'll proceed with reuniting with Connor in stages," Dr. Sarah explained. "We'll start with short, supervised visits." On the day of the first visit with Connor, Jason and Amanda looked nervous. "It's okay," I encouraged them. "Connor loves you." When we entered the visiting room, Connor hesitated a bit, but soon ran to his parents. "Dad, Mom." At that moment, the room was filled with tears. Dr. Sarah watched over us with a smile. "This is a new beginning. Let's move forward one step at a time, but surely." On the way home, I thought in the car. The journey of this family's regeneration has just begun. But the light of hope is certainly visible. With love, understanding, and professional support, we can surely overcome this. I renewed my determination. I will make this family happy. That is my new mission. 6 months later, the soft autumn sunlight was streaming into Boston Public Garden. I sat on a bench in the shade, smiling at the scene unfolding before me. Jason is giving Connor a piggyback ride, walking around the pond. Amanda is checking on the growth of the marigolds she planted with Connor in the flower bed. Their laughter blends into the peaceful air. "Grandma, look!" Connor shouts happily. In his hand, he's holding colorful balloons. Today is Connor's 6th birthday. Over these 6 months, our family has overcome many difficulties. Twice-weekly counseling, medication therapy, and above all, we learn to understand and support each other. Amanda sits next to me. "Margaret, thank you so much. Without you, we wouldn't be here now. I held her hand. It's your own efforts. I just helped a little. Jason approached, and the whole family sat on the bench. Connor is on my lap, happily gazing at the balloons. You know, Mom, Jason said. I've been thinking lately. Life is like this garden. What do you mean? I asked with interest. There was a time when it was desolate, but we all tended to it, and flowers are finally starting to bloom. But it still needs daily care. Amanda nodded. That's right. Every day is a challenge, but that's what makes us happy. Connor took out the birthday cake from the picnic basket. The flames of 6 candles flickered in the autumn breeze. Now, Connor. Make a wish, I gently encourage. Connor closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and blew out the candles in one go. The whole family applauds. What did you wish for? Amanda asks. Connor answered, looking a bit shy, that we can all be together forever. At those words, we couldn't help but tear up. Jason hugs Connor. I promise, son. From now on, we'll always be together. As we shared the cake, I whispered in my heart. This is our new beginning. A story of a family bound by love and understanding, learning from past mistakes. It may not be perfect yet, but we're irreplaceable beings who continue to grow together. As we were leaving, Connor held my hand. Grandma, thank you. The warmth of that small hand made me feel that everything was worth it. I remembered the difficult days and savored the current happiness. And I quietly vowed to continue watching over this family. With the Boston cityscape in the background, our family was